Oh, maybe it's summer. Winter here and summer across the globe. Of course, tropical areas, just it is what it is. No such thing as daylight savings or not daylight savings, and temperature quite constant. Of course, the difference is rainy season and not rainy season. Okay, so hope you're doing well and not cold where it is cold right now, not too hot where it is hot. Keeping a calm mind, peaceful mind, wise, compassionate. So let's do the chanting. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami, Dutayambi Buddham saranam gacchami, Dutayambi Dhammam saranam gacchami, Dutayambi Sangham saranam gacchami, Tadayambi Buddham saranam gacchami, Tadayambi Dhammam saranam gacchami, Tadayambi Sangham saranam gacchami. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the six paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the six paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the six paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May they be free from suffering and its causes. May they never be parted from the happiness beyond suffering. May they abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment to the near, and aversion from the far. I shall cause this. Great compassionate Buddha, please inspire me to be able to do so. Reverently I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind, and present clouds of every types of offerings, actual and mentally transformed. I confess all of my negative actions accumulated since beginningless time, and rejoice in all the virtues of all holy and ordinary beings. Please remain until cyclic existence ends, and turn the wheel of Dharma for all sentient beings. I dedicate the virtues of myself and others to the great enlightenment. However innumerable all sentient beings are, I vow to save them all. However inexhaustible my delusions are, I vow to extinguish them all. However immeasurable the Dharma teachings are, I vow to master them all. However endless the Buddha's way is, I vow to follow it completely. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Tayata ungati gati paragati parasamgati bodhisattva. Tayata ungati gati paragati parasamgati bodhisattva. Tayata ungati gati paragati parasamgati bodhisattva. So just before we do the meditations, I just thought I'd share with you, in case you want to participate um, online. And I'm not going in person, but I'm giving some teachings for the Metta Center in Sydney. Um, First time actually for about 2 years. They wanted me to teach some classes last year. I can't remember why, but I wasn't available. Oh, that's right. They were Monday nights, most of them. And I'm busy with mum and Skyping her brother Monday nights. And so I suggested that they get someone to teach. I think it was like a course, 4 to 6 weeks or something. And I suggested that they get someone who can do all of them rather than just swapping back and forth teachers. And then a couple of, I think some Wednesdays, but maybe we sort of miscommunicated. Maybe they were waiting for me to get back to them with dates. And I was waiting for them to confirm some dates or give me some dates, and then time went by. Anyway, as you may remember, I gave teachings on five skandhas for them a while back now, and then a commentary on the Metta Sutra, and then a commentary on the six paramitas. And so this time, as we did last year, actually, almost a year ago now, exactly a year ago, I think, I gave commentary on meditation on precious human life, impermanence, law of karma, and the unsatisfactory nature of cyclic existence. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to utilize the articles we utilized last year, and which remind you that they actually were initially written in point form for Dharma classes, maybe 20 years ago or something. And then I think it was the first big lockdown when COVID started that I wrote them as fully blown articles. Okay, so except for the unsatisfactory nature of cyclic existence, instead I did interdependent origination for that, sort of covering that. And when we had the commentary last year on it, on that specific subject, then I took notes, not took notes, but I wrote notes for myself, point notes, just coming up to that teachings or those teachings. Okay, so I'll utilize those for these teachings at the Metta Center. 2nd of July, so it's a Wednesday night from Australian Eastern Standard Time. It's 7 until 8:30-ish. I think we've gone through till about 9 o'clock, actually. But so the official time is 7 to 8:30. The first week, I will give the commentary on meditations on precious human life and impermanence. And then there's a Q&A as well. I'll utilize what we did last year, the wisdom tools, excuse me, of hearing, contemplating, and meditating. So we won't do the meditations up front, very short chanting, maybe 2 or 3 verses. And then I will get the class to actually meditate, utilizing these wisdom tools as we did last year. And so we'll do, like I said, the first two of these preliminary contemplations on the 2nd of July, and then on the 9th of July, the following week, we will do contemplation on karma and the unsatisfactory nature of cyclic existence. So for you guys who attended or participated in last year's classes, and the people that have viewed the video later consistently, then this is kind of like a refresher. Obviously, I can't go into as much detail because of these classes being basically an hour, say an hour and 10 minutes Dharma talk, and then with a Q&A to finish off the sessions. Okay, so you can obviously, the mics will be opened for the Q&A. So if you want to ask questions, you can very, very simply. Okay, you can either do it by sending messages off to the admin and the host, and or you can ask me directly, voice to voice. Okay, so that's took too long. Now maybe we're not meditative after the chanting. Calm the mind down, forget everything I said. If you need to write down those dates, do so. I may forget to remind you next week. And let's bring the mind inside the body now. And we will release the tension. Starting at the bottom of the body, release the tension from all around your feet, the toes, and the upper feet, where you have the toe bones, the balls of the feet, the arches, the heels, around your ankles and Achilles, and lower leg, calf muscles, shins, all around your knees, and the quad muscles and hamstrings on the upper legs, and the hips and the hip flexors, midsection, the groin, glutes, lower abdomen, just above your hips, lower back. Further up your abdomen, up your sides into the center of your back. All around your chest and under your arms. And your upper back, the rhomboid muscles, lateral muscles, up to the upper trap muscles, your shoulders, biceps and triceps, elbows, forearms, wrists, fingers and thumbs, all around your neck, and the back of your head, sides of your head, and your ears and temples, and all around your face, around your cheekbones and cheeks. Make sure you're not clenching your jaw. Chin and the mouth, both inside and outside. Inside, the tongue is resting on the upper palate, above the top teeth. Lips are gently touching. Your nose and sinuses and eye sockets and eyes. Make sure you're not frowning on your forehead. And finally, the crown of your head. Now briefly scan your body from the bottom to the top, just to see if there's any leftover tension that you're able to release, and if there is, do so. If you need to utilize some movement or deep in breath, long out breath to release this tension, then do so. And once we start the breath meditation and also the loving kindness meditation, try to keep your body still, even if you get itches and things like that. Shouldn't be too hard because short meditations, due to the time constraints with Zoom. And now bring your focus initially to the tip of your nose and follow the feeling of the breath as we breathe all the way in to our lungs. Breathing in and breathing out. Apart from being here physically, all you have to do physically is breathe. And mentally is focus on the breath. And if your mind wanders away from the breath, then replace it back onto the breath. That's all you have to do mentally. Quite simple and uncomplicated. You can also add the extra technique of counting the breaths from 1 to 10, but don't go past 10. And if you get distracted on the way towards 10, then go back to 1 at that time. You can also utilize the air passing certain areas in the body to help you keep focused on the feeling of the breath. For instance, the nose comes in the nose, passes your throat, it's quite cool as you breathe in, passes the chest area, enters the lungs, they expand, the abdomen rises a little bit. Then when you breathe out, the lungs compress, therefore the abdomen drops a little. The air goes out past the chest, past the throat. It's quite warm as it leaves the body. Out your nose and then coming in again. So sort of simplifying that, you can have the breath touching your nose, sensation of the breath going past your throat and chest area, and your abdomen rising and then dropping and then leaving the body, of course. So let's practice like this in silence for a little bit. Remember, if thoughts arise or any mental activity arises, don't cling to it, grasp at it, try to force it away or deny it. Just simply let it go by replacing your mind back onto the breath. And if your mind starts to become dull or sleepy, then wake it up a little bit by refocusing more brightly on your breath. So let's practice. So now we can feel pleased, and let's switch techniques now to the loving kindness meditation. Metta Bhavana. Feel yourself with universal loving kindness, utilizing the visualization technique of filling yourself with the white light. Feel yourself with so much loving kindness that it now overflows and radiates outwards from your heart center and entering into the heart centers of your loved ones, family, and friends, and filling their whole being with the universal loving kindness. And have the wish that they are happy, free from suffering, and are peaceful. Now also include strangers. And even those you may regard as enemies. Now let's extend this loving kindness out further and further distance-wise to all sentient beings now, without exception. Initially around your immediate area, all the sentient beings that live in the waters, on the land, fly through the air, born from wombs, eggs, moisture, or through transformation. Whether you know about them or not, whether they are in the human realm, animal realm, or other realms. Radiate this loving kindness that is initiated in your own heart. Radiate it outwards to all sentient beings. And throughout your whole state or county. And your whole country. And all of the countries throughout the world, as well as all of the oceans and lakes and so forth. And down to the core of the earth, to the outermost atmosphere. And beyond this planet. Like I say often, our extension or radiation of this loving kindness has gathered so much momentum now. It's like a tidal wave of loving kindness. Now throughout the whole solar system, all of the solar systems throughout the galaxy, and all of the galaxies throughout the universe. Until your loving kindness pervades throughout infinite space. Whilst also being present here and now to recite the dedication prayer. Due to this merit, may I soon attain the enlightened state of the Buddha, so that I may be able to liberate all sentient beings from their suffering. May the precious body Chitta, not yet born, rise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore. And may the precious view of Shunyata, not yet born, rise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore. Okay, so now we continue the commentary on Master Atisha's heart advice. Just remind everybody, you don't need to continue chanting after we do the dedication prayer, just in case you miss the Dharma talk. Okay, so even if it's our habit or your habit to continue to do some other prayers afterwards, we should stick to the format that we do in the Dharma class. Okie dokie. Like I said, so you don't miss any important points, even if it's only 10 seconds worth. All right, so Master Atisha's teachings, we're getting close to finishing them, but I want to spend a bit of time on these ones that correspond to the 6 paramitas. Afterwards, after we finish these 6, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teachings to go after that, of which mainly there's 4, and then there's the final 2 that finish up. So I'll share with you the actual um, teachings we're covering right now. Like I said, they correspond to the six paramitas, six transcendental perfections. Distracting enjoyments have no essence. Therefore, sincerely practice giving. Obviously correspond to the perfection of generosity or dana paramita. Then we have, excuse me, always keep pure moral discipline, for it leads to beauty in this life and happiness hereafter. Corresponds to the morality or perfection of morality. Also, you can say the perfection of discipline or moral conduct or ethical conduct. So that is the sila paramita. Then we have, since hatred is rife in these impure times, don the armor of patience, free from anger. And so this is Shanti Paramita, or the perfection of patience, also could be known as forbearance, tolerance, and so on. You remain in samsara through the power of laziness. Therefore, ignite the fire of the effort of application. This obviously corresponds to the paramita of effort or enthusiastic perseverance, perfection of effort, you could say, or virya paramita. Virya actually means energy, literally. Then we have, since this human life is wasted by indulging in distractions, now is the time to practice concentration. Corresponds to the perfection of concentration, or you could say samadhi paramita or dhyana paramita. Being under the influence of wrong views, you do not realize the ultimate nature of things. Therefore, investigate correct meanings. And this is obviously refers to or corresponds with the perfection of wisdom, of insight, or prajna paramita. Of course, all of the other ones must be based on prajna paramita, and we need to practice the other ones to develop the conditions that we need to enable us to realize the prajna paramita. They all work together. So hopefully you're enjoying this and you're not bored. I'm trying to give some different examples, some slightly different expressions of the same teachings. But sometimes I may repeat myself if I can't find a better or at least as good an example or a simile or something like that. All right, so um, then there's the other teachings which will go obviously after we finish these ones. Friends, there is no happiness in this swamp of samsara, so move to the firm ground of liberation. Meditate according to the advice of your spiritual guide and dry up the river of samsaric suffering. You should consider this well because it is not just words from the mouth, but sincere advice from the heart. If you practice like this, you will delight me, and you will bring happiness to yourself and others. I, who am ignorant, request you to take this advice to heart. This is the advice that the holy being, Venerable Atisha, gave to Venerable Zhang Truk-O. And I'm just trying to think. Zhang basically means bodhicitta. Okay, so I just share that with you. A little bit of interest. So we're going to obviously talk about generosity. Last week I covered how they work in order and help each other. Just to reiterate very, very briefly, generosity helps us to be moral. Morality helps us to be patient. When we're patient, we are more likely to be enthusiastic with our practice and persevere with our practice, to develop this great concentration and to realize the supreme wisdom. That's in order. Generosity, when we are more generous, we are less attached, less greedy, less miserly, less likely to do anything wrong. So much easier to practice morality. when we don't feel guilty or have remorseful feelings about doing wrong things or even being lazy with our practice, then actually, then we're able to have a mind that is free from this guilt, and we're able to practice patience, forbear the difficulties on the path, and so on. And when the mind is like this, we're able to persevere with enthusiasm, utilizing this effort, this sort of energy. We're able to then develop good concentration, eventually extraordinary concentration, which will help us to realize the supreme wisdom. That's enough for a reiteration. And so let's have a look at generosity. Even though we looked at it last week and we looked at it previously, I worked off notes that I'd written down myself when we did the 8 or 9 months of commentary on the six paramitas. I think was, if I remember right, July, it's about July 2021, right through to April 2022. And I remember writing myself some point notes, but I didn't want to have to access them now. Okay, so generosity can also be known as the door to the Dharma, as I say often, because it kind of opens the door for us to develop this bodhicitta, altruistic, compassionate intention to attain enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings, and opens the door to the other paramitas, especially eventually the perfection of wisdom. So obviously the marriage of the compassionate intention of bodhicitta and the perfection of wisdom, when it's perfected and unified, or unified and perfected, then this is enlightenment. And so generosity, there are generally three types. Any other type can fit under these three. There's the generosity of the giving of material aid, the generosity of the giving of protection from fear, and the generosity of the giving of the Dharma. So giving material aid. It is said that this can actually also be split up into another two or another three even. It depends on, first of all, I would say it depends on your intention, actually. Of utmost importance is our intention, motivation. But also depends on who you are giving material aid to. Could be enlightened beings. Could be your teachers, your parents that have been so kind to you by, at very least, giving birth even to you in this life. It could be those really in need, those that are sick, those that are difficult. Okay, but generally it depends on your intention. Okay, so the giving of material aid, obviously you can give material things, as it says. You can give money if you have it to those that are in need. Important to give without expectation of getting anything in return. You can be wise though, giving material aid, giving what is really needed by or these people that you are giving to, what is really needed. For instance, maybe if somebody is hooked on drugs, then maybe it's not a good idea to give them money to enable them to buy the drugs. Maybe you can offer them food or clothing, things like that. Okay, sustenance. That's just a simple example. Um, Obviously, it's pointless giving some sort of material thing if you're offering to a monk or a nun that they can't use. So just the requisites, food, water, shelter, robes, things like this, and so on and so forth. I think you understand. Whatever people need. Somebody needs a coat because they're cold, and you have one, and you can give it up. You have another one, then do that. And don't regret your good actions, because we can do that too. Yeah, it's good to regret bad actions so we can purify them, not engage in them again. But don't regret good actions. If you give something away, rejoice in that. Okay. And so also giving protection from fear. This could be as simple as giving forgiveness, helping other people, give up their fears and remorse and so forth. Also put down your mental baggage by, freeing yourself from any grudges, ideas of vengeance and so forth. Um, but also protection from fear. We all have hopes and fears, so until we are free from samsara. And so whatever the fears the beings may have, then you can help them alleviate these fears. Could be with kind words. It could be by showing them by example. Um, it could be visiting people that are really suffering, hospitals and so on. Okay. I think that'll do for that because we only have a minute and 40 seconds or so to go. And also there is the giving of the Dharma. Now, obviously you can give formal teachings. Normally, Dharma teacher gets permission or asks by his master or her master to give formal teachings. But you can also give informal teachings, whether it's to do with the good vibes, or even you can start your own little sort of maybe online class, or even get together with friends, talk about Dharma, things like that. Share the Dharma, to the best of your ability. But generally, we talk about, giving the Dharma as in the formal teachings. But also, remember, Dharma means truth. So the path leading to the truth, but also the truth itself. So you can speak truthfully, you can act with truth behind you, behind your actions. Always maintain a truthful mind, and therefore your actions and speech will follow suit. And even as long as something is not harmful and is beneficial, you can teach other things too to sentient beings if they need them. Mathematics, for instance, how to do the gardening, it's very simple things as well. All right, so we'll have a look at sila or morality next week. I rejoice in your meritorious goodness as always. Look after yourselves, especially your mind. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Study, practice, share the Dharma well. Thank you.